Hi and welcome to lesson 3 of Learn to Play Piano. Today will be our final lesson in C major, and next lesson we'll be moving on to a different key. So far we have learnt the C major scale in our right hand, in our left hand. We've learnt 2 different hymns in C major, and we've also learnt about the C major triad in root position, first inversion and second inversion. So today we're going to start off with some theory review, and it will just be a repeat of what we did last week, and hopefully we'll consolidate what you learned. This week's review will be looking at the hymn at Calvary, which you have been practicing since our last lesson. And again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to identify the C major chords and circle them or highlight them in your music. So if you can, print out a copy of the sheet music and away we go. So the first bar starts with the word years, and we see that there are 2 C's on the bottom and then an E and a G on top. So this is a C major chord. It's got the notes of C, E and G, and it's in root position because C is on the bottom. So you can circle or highlight this chord. And then we see the next chord, I, is exactly the same. So we highlight or circle that. And then we go into the third word, spent. And we see it has 2 C's, an E and a G. So that's another chord, that's in a C major chord in root position. Then we go to the next chord. In the bass we see 2 C's again, but in our right hand we see that there's a D and an F. As these notes don't belong to the C major chord, we'll leave this chord and move on. Then we look at the first chord for the word vanity, and we see from the bottom going up a C, a G, a C and an E. So that's a nice strong C major chord. We can highlight that. And the last chord for this bar has a G and a C at the bottom, but it has a D and an F on top, so we're going to ignore it for now. So the second bar, we have the ending of the word vanity. We have 2 C's, an E and a G. So we circle that chord. It's a C major chord in root position. So I'm hoping that you're feeling really confident with your C major chords by this time. The word and has 2 C's at the bottom, but it has an F and an A on top. And we'll be learning a little bit more about different chords in our next lesson. So we'll ignore this one for now and move on. And then the word pride, you can see with the C and the C, the E and the G, it's a C major chord. And then if we have a look at the final bar, we see caring not my Lord was crucified. If we have a quick look through, it's not C major chords until we come to the word Lord. Now let's have a close look at this chord on the word Lord. There's a G on the bottom, it's followed by a C, and then an E and a G in the treble clef. So this is a C major chord. It's got all of our 3 notes, but the bottom note is a G. So if we have a think back to our chords in root position, first inversion and second inversion, we see it's not a root position chord because the C is not on the bottom. It's not a first inversion chord because the E isn't on the bottom, but it is a second inversion chord because we have the G on the bottom. So we circle that note, we circle the chord, and we mark it as a C major chord in second inversion. So you can put a little number 2 above that chord. So that's your homework for this week. So go ahead and finish looking for the C major chord in your hymn at Calvary. Your technical homework for this week will be the scale of C major played with your left hand and your right hand at the same time. That's called in similar motion, and I'll demonstrate this on the piano for you. Our hymn for this week will be Hold the Fort. So that's number 633 in your Living Hymns hymnal. Otherwise, I'll link the music below. Make sure it's in C major, and you can practice that for the week. So here's our C major scale in similar motion. We have C, middle C with the right hand, and we have the octave below C with the left hand. So you've played these hands separately. And your left hand. So all we do is do it at the same time. hymn, Hold the Fort, which is in C major, we're going to approach it the same way we've played our other hymns. So we're going to play the alto note and the soprano note in our right hand. And in our left hand, we're just going to play the bass note as a single note. So that's a nice, easy bass for you to, at least on the first line. It's a little bit more interesting later on. So hands together, your hymn should sound like this.